Okay. My name is John Harmon. I'm the president of FR Secure. How many people have heard of FR Secure? Right, yeah, all right. Got my many adoring fans in the room. FR Secure, for those of you who don't know, is a security consulting company. We've been in business for about 11 years, and a few years ago we started making software. That's Security Studio, right over there. We're on a mission at FR Secure to fix our industry. There's a lot of things broken. We're trying to do it right. We're trying to be the voice of reason and try to get things back on track. That's why we're product agnostic, right? We don't sell hardware, we don't sell software. We have to be credible and trustworthy in our recommendations. So Evan Francen, who is the CEO of Security Studio and FR Secure, has this world-class mission of fixing a broken industry, and the first thing that's wrong is that we're not speaking the same language. I bet if I asked this room, what is your definition of information security? We get about 50 different answers. We're not even getting that part right. So Evan is going to come out. Evan, you there? Did he disappear again? Where's he at? There he is. So I'm going to turn it over to Evan, and he's going to tell you how we're going to secure America with our world-class mission and our world-class tool set and his world-class brain.
Yeah, all right.
Thank you.
Wow, there's a lot of people here. Good to see you guys. Hey, before we get started, this is nice because it gets to hide my body, especially after, I don't know. I don't like showing this part. This part's okay, the badass beard and all that. But before we get started, I'd like to give, if we could just give a round of applause to Ben and the whole Network Center group for putting together a really good conference and really good food. So thanks. All right, I'm one of those guys. I'm a security guy, and I'm an introvert. So when I'm standing here in front of all of you, it makes me feel uncomfortable. It also exhausts me, so I'm gonna try to stay awake the whole time. I have anybody drink energy drinks around here? Yeah, I'm that guy. I drink a lot of those. So I was told I have an hour and a half, 2 hours to talk. So that's going to be really cool because that's about how long it's going to take for me to get through my slide deck, whatever. Actually, I think half an hour. But I have some structure, truly. If you know me, you know I'm one of those guys where I'm kind of all over the place a lot. I actually have a structure to today's presentation. I'm going to start with some housekeeping stuff. We're going to get serious, and then I'm going to get into the meat of kind of what I wanted to talk to you guys about, and then I have this dream, and it's the Securing America thing. It really didn't come to me until last week. I was talking to, we have 87 counties where I come from in Minnesota. We protect you guys from Wisconsin, so thank you. You're welcome. We also protect Iowa from Canada. So this whole thing, we were talking to counties last week, and I was like, what am I going to talk about? It was a last-minute thing. The CISO for the state of Minnesota is a guy named Aaron Call. Super good guy, awesome. He has an impossible job. He was the guy who was giving a talk, and then he backed out for whatever reason. I think he had some kind of thing he had to do. So then they called me and said, hey, can you give a talk tomorrow? And I'm like, what was Aaron Call going to talk about? And they said, security design in UX. I don't want to talk about that. So I decided, well, let's talk about securing America. So what we did is we went through this presentation. It was really cool because there was really good participation from the counties in kind of doing some of the things that I'm asking them to do, right, to get on the same page. So that's kind of where this presentation came from. I think originally we were going to talk about this language problem. We're going to talk about that still, but then we're going to finish up with this dream of kind of securing America. So whatever. It's good stuff. Before we even get started with that, so this is the housekeeping part of the presentation. I made a promise to some people that, and this is something that's been on my heart for a long time. It's mental health and information security. I know it's not an exciting topic to talk about. I actually have that same t-shirt on. You guys ever heard of mental health hackers before? I'm not going to strip. I'm just going to show you my t-shirt that I got on. So you can show your support for this organization. They're at Black Hat, they're at DEF CON. Really, it's trying to tackle this mental health issue that we have in our industry. It's a stigma, so a lot of people don't talk about it. And I think that's crap. I think we do need to talk about it. And this hit home for me. That's Robbie Bragg, the guy that you see there. 26 years old, on my team. awesome guy, ended up committing suicide. And the lie is that nobody cares. Nobody wants to, that nobody will help you, whatever. That's I can't swear. Can I swear? Yes. All right, that's bullshit. People do care. And so I'm starting every talk. I've been giving talks all over the country. Last week I was in, I don't even remember, Dallas, I think, California, Pennsylvania, talking to B-sides, whatever. And this same slide is on every one of these presentations because I just want to get this out there. And I want you to know that there's help, right? So if you're dealing with this, because statistically we all deal with it. My own wife asked me a few weeks ago, she was struggling with making a decision on something, and she asked me, we're on our way to dinner, and she goes, am I normal? I'm like, look who you're talking to. What the hell, normal? I mean, I grow this beard. You should have seen what I did before I came up here and talking. I was playing with the lights. I got a sweet picture I held the lights up like this, and I made this angry looking face. That's not normal. Right? But that's what I did. So none of us are normal. There's no such thing, so whatever. Other housekeeping things, this is me. If you don't know who I am, I'm a security guy. I've been a security guy for a really long time. I have this thing that information security isn't about information or security as much as it is about people. People suffer when we do things wrong. People suffer when an attacker, ransomware somebody, whatever. Right? It's always about people. And that's been the really cool thing about my job is over the years, I've met so many cool people. If I were to summarize kind of my experience, it would always be about the people that I've met along the way. I've got to do some cool things. I got to work on the Target breach. That was a big deal, I guess. Blue Cross Blue Shield breach, those are two of them that are there. But, we built this thing. We have this mission of fixing the broken industry because we care about people. Right? 90%, I would guess, of organizations out there don't do the fundamentals well. That's a problem. That's a problem that we need to address as a community, as an information security community. So that's whatever. That's me. I know sometimes in our industry we like to compare resumes, like your resume is better than my resume, so you should listen to me, that kind of thing, whatever. That's just me. I look better as cartoons. Did you guys notice that? I'm a much better cartoon than I am this, but this is what you get. I wrote a book. So we have this mission, John alluded to it, is to fix the broken industry. This industry is broken in a number of different ways, and it's not like there's something wrong with us necessarily. It's a newer industry. It's still new. My very first paid security job was cleaning boot sector viruses off of Windows 3.1 machines. And any of you in healthcare or manufacturing, you probably still have some 3.1 machines. Whatever, that's a security humor. See, you got it. See, that's because you're a friend of mine. We get it. I have books. I give stuff away. Now, in our industry, it's not about making money, right? We have this money grab problem. That's actually chapter 8 in this book, if you've ever read it. It's confusing. Give stuff away. So if you want a copy of the book, just go over there and go grab one. Nobody's going to charge you for it. If you are paying for your book, you did it wrong. That's it. All right, so let's get into this. This is if you want to connect with us. So one of the things that we're doing right now, we're doing the Security Studio Roadshow. We're going out and talking to other security people. I've been talking at ISSA, B-Sides, ISACA, ISC Squared, keynotes, all kind of weird things, right? You meet all kinds of cool people. While we're doing that, we're also, the real reason, honestly, is the barbecue. I'm a barbecue guy. That's why one of the reasons why I like standing behind this thing, because when you eat a lot of barbecue, you gain weight. Nobody told me that at first. Now I'm realizing that that's what's happening. So we have 17 reviews. If you want to follow kind of what we're doing, follow our journey, this is really kind of fun. You can do that there. All right, so back to our thing. How do you secure America? We're going to have to lay some groundwork before we get there. So show of hands here. How many of you like America? Anybody who didn't raise their hands? The door is over there, right? That's good. It's good to know that we all like America. We need to agree on some things before we're going to figure out how we're going to secure America. That's the dream part, right? Securing America is the dream part. I've gotten through the housekeeping stuff. We're going to get into some meat, and then we'll get to this dream, this crazy whatever idea. Fixing the broken industry was a crazy idea. When we first started, when it was 2 employees at FR Secure, it was really crazy. The one person who didn't laugh at me, actually, is still with us today. He's employee number 2, that's Kevin Orth. And now we're 80-ish employees. So it seems a little less crazy today than it used to be. And now we have Security Studio, which is a company where really we're inviting other security consulting companies to join us in this mission, to get us speaking the same language. And it's seeming a little less crazy. Now we're on the roadshow, it's even a little less crazy. You talk to counties, and then you get 10 counties to sign up and do the things that I'm asking them to do. It seems a little less crazy, right? So we're making progress. This dream of securing America maybe isn't as crazy as we thought. I don't know. We'll find out. It's cool to have a mission. Hopefully you all have some kind of personal mission. It's cool to have a mission and then just like go after it, right? 100% all the time. This thing, what is this, a microphone? It's probably gonna fall off, but that's because I took my shirt kind of half off, whatever. So what is secure? Let's get to that. How many people are security people here? We have IT people here, security people here. We probably have some business people here. Lawyers? Any lawyers? Law enforcement, you have to tell me. That's the rule. Okay, it's good to know that because then I can say what I can say, right? And not get in trouble. I didn't see any law enforcement. All right, so this is our industry. And you could fit in that circle that I have there, you could fit any number of things, right? It's a very chaotic industry. There's lots of different ways to do things, or God knows how many methodologies, how many standards. You can choose COBIT, ISO, NIST, CSF. You can choose 800-171. You could choose whatever. High trust, SOC 2, whatever kind of thing you want to do. It's a confusing industry. This is what normal people see it. I say normal people. If you look at chapter 1 of the book, there's security people and then there's normal people. The security people, we're kind of not normal, right? There's about 850,000 security people in the United States. There's 330 million normal people. And the problem is the normal people have to understand what it is that we're doing because they're the ones that need to make the decisions on what we're supposed to do. Does that make sense? You guys are all supposed to nod your head to that because I'm really smart and stuff, right? And if you guys start falling asleep, because we did just eat, I got dad jokes. Save yourself from the dad jokes by, just like participating with me and stuff. All right, so this is what we look like. We also look like this. We also look like that. Why? Why do we look like that? Why do we look like that to normal people? And I hypothesize one of the reasons why we look like that is we don't agree ourselves, security people, on our own language. Talk about a pen test. What's a pen test? What's information security? What's risk? What are all these words? What do they mean? I may have my own definition. You may have your own definition. It's not like yours is wrong or mine is wrong. We're just not agreeing. We don't have the same definition. So it certainly makes sense then that we won't be able to translate to normal people language. Right? They have no idea what the hell we're talking about. Do you guys ever experience this? Given a board presentation, talk to the CEO, say, hey, I got some security things to talk to you about. They'll run. Right? You talk to them about basic information security concepts. You don't even get past like the first sentence, and it's over. And this is one of the big reasons, right? Is because we're not agreeing ourselves on what this language is. And so we certainly wouldn't be able to translate. So the fix, good for us, is fundamentals, simplification. And now I'm going to share with you that that's not me that's saying that. I'm going to show you a study that we did briefly where this is what they say. Right? Simplify. The good thing about simplification is complexity is the enemy of security, right? Bruce Schneier was the first guy I ever heard say that, and it made perfect sense to me. The more complex you make things, the harder it is to secure. You keep adding more tools, you start getting this tool sprawl, you're making your job harder. Certainly if you don't know how to use those tools, right? So simplification and focusing on the fundamentals. I don't know how many, I've seen so many security programs over the years, and I would say 90% of them suck at the fundamentals. Not you guys, the other people. We all got our fundamentals right. That's security humor, and you're supposed to laugh. Because we don't. Somebody give me one of those, like, ha-ha, kind of laughs. Thank you. All right. Now, here's the warning, though. We live in this easy button, shortcut, instant gratification world today, and I think, based on what I've seen, and I've been, like I said, I've been all over the country. I'm still going all over the country talking to people about these things, and it seems to me that people don't like to do work. Not as much as maybe kind of like we used to. I'm not going to give you some kind of old-fashioned, when I was a kid, we used to walk up, walk to school back and forth in the snow, against the wind kind of thing. But it does take work. The fundamentals take work. And I'll give you one fundamental. You can't possibly protect the things you don't know you have. Would you agree with that? So what does asset management look like in your organization? And it's not just hardware assets, that's the easy one. What about software assets? What about data assets? Where's your data? Where's it going? Who's got access? Right? That asset inventory is really, really important. GDPR was such a huge thing. Now CCPA is such a big thing, right? Because, man, I got another compliance thing I got to deal with. The problem is you're going after the compliance and you're not focusing on the fundamentals. If you had known where your data is and you knew where your data was going, you'd already have data flow diagrams. You'd already be compliant with CCPA and GDPR. Do you see what I'm saying? All right. Anyway, I'm preaching a little bit. That's what I do, though, so sorry. This is a study. This is a word map. So we did a study. We asked 1,000 normal people, and we actually vetted them out. If you were a security person, you weren't allowed to answer the questions. We answered questions. We had a series of questions. They were all yes, no. I wanted objectivity in the study, but then I had one open-ended question, just one. I asked, what can information security people do to make your job better, to make your life better? And then we took that data, the open-ended question, and we just did a word map. No massaging of the data whatsoever, and we just did a word map. And if you know how word maps work, the most prevalent word, the most common word stands out. And what's the word? It's simple. That's good. So they want us to simplify. We need to simplify. That's our problem. All right. So we have to listen. So let's listen to what the normal people say. It's good to listen. I don't know if you're like, I've done security the wrong way, probably more often than I've done it the right way, where I've told normal people what they think, as opposed to listening to what they think. I don't know if you guys have ever made that mistake before. Sometimes it's painful. So let's listen to them. Let's talk about, and if you don't believe me, let's go through a little exercise together. This is a question I ask everybody. I ask CISOs, I've asked Fortune 100 CISOs, Fortune 500 CISOs, I've asked all kinds of people. Information security is what? What is it? And we just kind of take it for granted and we start going off and buying blinky lights and doing things, and I'm not sure we really even know what we're doing, right? So I'm going to give you my definition of information security. If you like it, use it, right? There's nothing proprietary here. If you don't like it, tell me. Because I'm out preaching to everybody that this is the definition of information security. It'd be nice to know that I'm doing it wrong. You know what I'm saying? So we just have to have this agreement. So information security is managing risk. Now you notice there's a big blue box around it. We're going to put some stuff in the big blue box. So there's more to this definition. But it's managing risk. It's not eliminating risk. Right? Makes sense? The thing is, in order to manage risk, I have to assess it. I have to start making risk decisions. I have to understand risk. You have to get comfortable with risk. If it's not about eliminating risk, that means I have to live with some risk. And that means I have to get comfortable with it. One of the things that I was asked recently on a radio interview was, we were talking about some breach or something, and the radio host asked me, hey, what keeps you up at night? And the only thing that keeps me up at night is what my 14-year-old daughter is doing on her phone. That's it. I understand most of the other risk. I live with it. I'm comfortable with risk. I'm comfortable with using Wi-Fi with a VPN. With a VPN. Not comfortable with Wi-Fi without it. I'm comfortable using your computer on Wi-Fi without a VPN, just not my own. But you have to get comfortable with this stuff, right? And it's the same thing. We need to do it, and then we need to work with the normal people and help them understand the same thing. It's also not compliance. 80% of all information security investments, I would claim, come from compliance. It's because you've been told you have to do it, as opposed to managing risk, right, which is our definition. Making sense, everybody? Okay. This isn't like the most exciting thing, but it's the truth. Hashtag truth. That's what you do on Twitter, I think. You guys do Twitter? Any Twitter people? I'm expecting like at least 5, 6 new followers after this talk. Or more. 10, whatever. All right, so we got to preach. So for what? What is managing risk in what? Administrative, physical, and technical controls. This is another thing, right? And it's all basic. It's all fundamental. It's not anything that you guys haven't heard before, but you're not doing it based on the organizations that I've worked with, which is, I think, a representation of what's probably sitting here in front of me. So administrative controls, it doesn't really matter how well your firewall works because it's easier to go through your secretary than it is to go through your firewall. Now, most of the breaches we know about have a human element to it, so that makes a lot of sense to me. And I don't know if you treat information security like it's an IT issue. The reason why it's usually treated like an IT issue is because we don't there's this misunderstanding of what security is. You do the same thing at home, most people, when they're dealing with their kids, right? Most people don't talk to their kids about what they're doing on their computers or what they're doing on their iPhones or their iPads or whatever. And they just sort of ignore it, right? Hoping that it'll just go away. But it doesn't, because it doesn't, just because you ignore it. So the same thing sort of happens in businesses. You know, executives don't understand security. We don't take the time to really explain it and work with them. So they treat it like it's an IT issue. Well, it's not my problem. Somebody else handle that, right? It's not an IT issue. We also know that it doesn't matter how well your firewall, how good your firewall works, how great it is. Checkpoint firewalls, they're awesome. But if I can come and steal your server, it doesn't do much good, right? So there's also a physical component to information security. And then we've got certainly the IT part, which is what everybody sort of gets a rise out of, I guess. All right, so what's risk? If information security is managing risk, what's risk? This is like the most overused word ever. You see it, everybody wants to manage risk. Everybody says it's managing risk, and then you ask, well, what the hell is risk? Well, you know, it's like stopping stuff or something, or whatever. No. Information security, risk is likelihood and impact. It's the likelihood of something bad happening and the impact if it did, right? This isn't earth-shattering news, but this is the definition. This is the definition I live all the time, and hopefully it's the definition that you'll live all the time, because we need to get on the same page. If this isn't, like I said, please tell me and save me from myself as I'm out preaching this to other people, and they're probably sitting maybe like you and going, this guy's an idiot. I don't want to be an idiot. Maybe. I don't know. You make plenty of money, I guess, being an idiot in this industry. All right, so what is, now likelihood and impact is fine, that's one thing, but I can't apply it. It's difficult, it's nebulous, it's hard to understand. Let's start with your weaknesses, start with your vulnerabilities. Vulnerabilities and weaknesses are the same exact thing, right? What are my weaknesses? And the reason why you start with weaknesses and vulnerabilities is because you know you better than you know them, meaning the threats. You don't know the threats. One of the biggest mistakes we see in incident response when we do an incident response is assumptions. People make assumptions. They think they knew who the, I don't know if you've ever done incident response before, but you try to do attribution. In most cases, it's impossible to actually do true attribution on an incident response. We don't understand the threats very well. We think we do. We've got a bunch of threat things that we're doing, and we're sharing threat data like we've never shared before. The one thing that we're not sharing is loss data. Right? If we really wanted to put this risk thing together and really quantify risk, you'd need to have the loss data. But anyway, start with your vulnerabilities. We all do vulnerability scans, right? Yeah. If you don't, then this. You get one of these things. Bad. So vulnerabilities, the way vulnerabilities work is it's a weakness. It's an absence of a control. It's pretty basic. If you have a control that's completely implemented, meaning if you were using the CMMI and it's a 5, which is optimized, that means there's no gap in my control. There's no weakness. So it doesn't matter what the threats are, right? Because if you apply threats to something where there's no weakness, there's no risk. Does that make sense? The same thing happens the other way. If you have no control whatsoever, you're a CMMI of 0, 1, which is initial, and there's no threats that apply, then you also have no risk, right? That's how you make decisions on risk. Anyway, basic. All right, so let's get through this. This is our definition of information security. Do you like this definition or not? Does anybody have a better one? Seriously, I won't yell at you. I really want to work together on all this stuff. If this is a definition that you can use, then use it. We also throw in sometimes CIA, confidentiality, integrity, and availability. That's a big thing. If you've studied for your ISC or your CISSP, you know CIA, right? Those are aspects, those are things that we're trying to protect with the information security. At the end of the day, it comes down to assets. All right, so let's go further. So what's information security? This is our definition. This is fine. Here's some other truths about information security. First of all, it's relative. Right? These are just truths that help me in what I do every day. It's relative. There's no such thing as being secure if secure means there's no risk. Right? It's always on a scale. It's got to be somewhere between a 0 and 100 or a 300 and an 850. When you do credit risk, I don't think you know anybody who's got a 300 credit score, do you? Hopefully not. Or an 850, because it's really impossible. You can't eliminate risk. It's got to be somewhere on the scale. So it's always relative. I'm trying to read my slides because I don't have very good eyesight. I did this last time. You guys here a couple years ago? I gave a presentation and I couldn't read the damn. I said, damn, I can swear though. You guys said I could swear here. So I couldn't read the damn slides. I'm the same way here. I'm usually it's like right here. So anyway, you can't manage risk, you have to assess risk, right? Oh, I can stand here. But then you guys see this. You guys impressed? Who whistled? Give them something. All right, well, let's get this going on here. No, I'm just kidding. All right, so you can't manage risk without assessing it. That makes sense, right? It's assessment, and then it's decision making, and then it's implementation. If you really wanted to, I've been a CISO in a number of organizations too. I don't know how many CISOs there are out there. Really, your simplest functions are to consult on risk and then implement controls based on risk decisions. That's it. If you really want to simplify a CISO's job, it's that, right? Assess risk, make recommendations to executive management, to the business, and then implement those risk decisions to the best of your ability. That's a CISO's job. So something insecure at the core will always be insecure. What you end up having is lipstick on a pig. So if you start with an insecure environment, I don't know if any of you have tried to go from your environments that you're all running today to a whitelist environment. You ever tried that? Nobody? That's because you won't be able to do it, probably. You have to start with security. That's why we want to be involved in every project at the very beginning, right? So trying to secure something after a project's already been implemented is almost impossible because it's insecure at the core. We had the same problem with NT4. Do you guys remember NT4? NT4 was always insecure. The kernel itself was insecure. We were never going to secure it, right? So that's the truth about information security. You can't manage what you can't measure. You have to have somebody at some point decided that this was going to be an inch, right? And then we all just agreed, well, we're going to measure things so that that's going to be an inch. And then the Europeans came and they said, well, we're going to do millimeters and stuff. Whatever, we're Americans. We like the inch, that's what we're going with. You need to decide what your inch is going to be. What's your inch? What characteristics are you going to build to measure your information security program? One of the things that we do at Security Studio, you can use our tools, they're free. You can use our inch. That's ideal, right? Because if you're using this inch, you're using a different inch, it makes it difficult in this third-party risk management problem that we have, right? Because we're speaking the different language between the two companies. Do you see what I'm saying? All right. Complexity is the enemy. Always keep this in mind. Anytime anybody wants to add anything into my life, into my environment, into my home, I have to think about security. I don't want that. I was at Target, and my daughter, my 14-year-old little, no, she's not little anymore, but 14-year-old who's doing, I know what she's doing on her phone, by the way, because I have those discussions. She wanted to get Alexa. We're at Target, and she's like, Dad, we should get Alexa. I'm like, hell no. I'm not getting Alexa. And she's like, why didn't you get Alexa? I'm like, I don't know how to secure that thing. I mean, it's got privacy issues. And she's like what? I'm like, well, like it's listening to me. Well, no, it's not. It's only when you say Alexa. I'm like, how do you think it heard it saying Alexa? Right? So I'm not ready for that complexity in my life, so I choose to avoid it in most cases. All right, but that makes it hard in a business, right? You have to consult the business, right? Are we going to go down this path and add more complexity into our environment? There better be a good business reason for that. And I need to account for risk as we go down that path. So here's the thing, you cannot build a security program. It's impossible. I've tried it so many times in so many different ways. You cannot build a security program without doing risk assessments, period. Doing risk assessments at the beginning, doing risk assessments throughout, doing risk assessments at the end, like there's an end of a security program. You always have to do risk assessments. All right. The problem is 90% of organizations aren't doing risk assessments. We work with security people all the time. So I have a different perspective. The people I talk to all the time are doing risk assessments. That's who I talk to. There's a whole group of people that we never ever talk to. There's a whole bunch of people that never do risk assessments. And if you do the math, if you do the risk assessment market and you work it backwards, you find out that 90% are not doing it. Why? One reason is complexity. Which risk assessment should I do? There's so many different risk assessments. There's so many different methodologies. There's qualitative, there's quantitative. I could use a standard, God knows what, right? So it's complex. This is the language that works for us, assuming that we all agree that this is going to be a language that works for us. This doesn't work for them. Instead, we need to simplify. So let's listen to them. Let's simplify what risk assessment actually means. So we took a score, a simple score. This is our inch. This is how we're going to measure security. So now I can go to the board and say, this is where we're at. This is our number. This is our quantification of what risk is, right? Simple. We call it the S2 score. You can create your own. It would be nice if we all had one. And that's why we made this, the S2 org, the assessment that creates this score, free. So we can start speaking the same language. We want to remove those barriers. It works everywhere. It's always worked. It works with OCC, OCR, FDIC, whoever your regulator is, it's going to work just fine for that. The second reason is cost. If I spend $15,000, $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 on a risk assessment, it leaves me nothing with remediation. It's a significant hit on our investment, so let's make it free. And that's what we did. So the S2 org is free. We're trying to find these barriers to get at fixing this broken industry. The theory is if you focus on the mission, you'll make money. If you focus on the money, you'll never make the mission. Right? So keep making these things free and accessible to people. Nobody likes free anymore. We have this money grab and everybody's like, well, what's the catch? There's no catch. It's free. Do an assessment. It's free. A salesperson will probably reach out to you, but just tell them to get lost. You got your free assessment. It's all good. And it backs up with all these things, right? So if you're speaking these other languages, it works with that. It's one translation, one language, and I have to hurry up because I'm running out of time. All right, so speaking the same language should be free, right? I would think so. And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to get everybody on the same page. That's why we're doing the roadshow, is trying to get people talking the same language. Then we can focus more of our time on actually fixing stuff. It's so tiring having these same arguments over and over and over again for 20 years about what security is, about how we're going to measure it, about how your assessment's better than my assessment. I don't care. Let's all use some assessment and then be a community. Tell us what you like, what you don't like, and let's make this assessment our assessment. So anyway, what do you do to secure America? Simple adoption. That's it. You just need to get people to adopt it. That's simple, not easy. Simple and easy are two different things. All right, so let's do a demonstration. I live in Waconia. Yay, Waconia, Carver County. Woo. I don't know. Most of you guys probably don't even know where that is. Anyway, there's Waconia. They got an S2 org, let's say. Theoretically, they got an S2 org. That's not their score. I would make them do better than that. So 644, it's fair. And then other cities in the county get theirs. Eventually you get a county score. And counties do the same thing. We have 87 counties in the state of Minnesota. They do the same thing. Now we've got a 612 for the state. And then the states do it. It's simple, right? Don't get confused with, don't think that just because it's simple that it's not credible. Now if you had something like this, some construct like this, you could look at, hey, what's up with Scott County in Minnesota? Why do they only score a 450? I don't know, maybe the other counties could find out. Maybe we could get together. Maybe they need more resources. Maybe they need more budget. Maybe they got hit with something. I don't know. But right now, there's no visibility at all. Counties are getting hit by ransomware. Cities are getting hit by ransomware. They're paying ransoms. I still have another minute. See, you're awesome. Thank you. They're still getting hit with ransomware. And every time you pay a ransom, thank you, insurance, every time they're paying ransoms, you're funding additional criminal enterprise. They're reinvesting that money to hit other cities, right? It'd be dumb to think otherwise. So anyway, I don't like this, so I had to put this on there. I'm American, man. I like America. I'm a big fan of America. I drive a pickup truck, carry a gun, not now, but in Minnesota, I do. I love America, and so I would be upset with the fact that if America was a 590, I'd want to do something about this. So anyway, that's that. Where's my button? Oh, I'm pushing the wrong button. Oh, this is the laser beam. That's cool. You guys don't have a laser beam. Anyway, so what does it mean for you? So this is what we're going to do. Security Studio, this is what we're going to keep doing. We're crazy. Look at me. Of course I'm crazy. We're going to keep preaching. We're going to get political. We're starting to pull political strings. We're going to keep improving, and the way we improve is by listening. When you go out and do an S2 org, tell us what you like, tell us what you don't like. It's too many questions, it's too much work, I don't understand. Whatever it is, we want to make this something that we're going to do together. What you need to do is go get your free S2 org. You can't say you don't have budget. It's like free. I don't know, we could pay you to do it, but then that would suck for me. All right, help us preach. If you like it, preach it. Get your peers to do it, right? We're all in this together. Your bad security actually affects me, and vice versa. Help us to work politically. Help us improve by talking. This is where you go. This is where you can get the S2 org assessment. This is where you can get it for free. This is the call to action. They say you're supposed to close these things with a call to action. Here's the call to action. Go out and do it. If you have another assessment methodology, use this one and tell us what you like and don't like, right? Make this thing work for all of us. Anyway, that's all I got. Thanks. I'm sorry I'm over.
Thank you. No, that's great. Thank you, Evan.